Dear Infinity Ward, I know who you could get to be your new operator, or one of them as operator.
Infinity Ward?
Infinity Ward,
Yeah.
Sledgehammer games. I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't know if they would. I don't know if I'm cool enough for them, but yeah, you mean hit me up if you want that.
You gotta look. You got the tattoos and everything. So.
Welcome back to CF Podcast, guys. Of course, here, Jason here. I got my co-anchor with me, Brandon.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, awesome, man. We've got our guest, brother, Kagan Dunlap, man.
What's going on, guys?
First of all, brother, thank you for absolutely just being here, man.
Yeah, no, of course, man. I like, I try to, if people want to, I don't care like who they are. I love talking to people. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care how many followers you got, subscribers you got. If you got a podcast going, I'll sit down and talk to people. You know, I enjoy talking to people. That's why I scheduled 6 podcasts. So. back to back.
The man is the podcast champ of SHOT Show.
Yeah, I mean, it's just no. I'm happy to talk to people and get to know people in the community and the industry and all that stuff. And I honestly all my time that I spend is focused either at work or working at home by myself. So I don't really spend a lot of time around people. I don't hang out with anybody outside of work. I just get off work and I go back home and I work the rest of the day. So my entire day is work all the time. So it's nice to get opportunities like this to actually communicate with people face to face, like a living, breathing human being.
Oh wow, there's plenty of those.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's what's up, man. Especially, a home, when I say hometown, obviously from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Right. We are there too. We're out there in Charlotte. So had to definitely link up and make this happen. So first of all, just your content and how you bring it is a fresh way. It's raw. There's no frills. You just tell it how it is. And even if you are cutting a joke, it's kind of in a way that's it just provokes thought. And so just the way you carry yourself, of course, had to bring you on, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I don't find myself funny at all. I think I'm I actually think I'm not funny, and if it's funny, it's because it was by accident or I said something dumb or stupid. Because my humor is dry because I just don't think I'm very funny. Right. But people are like, dude, that was so funny the way you did that. And I appreciate anybody that enjoys my content. I bust my butt on that every day, and so it's nice to know that people enjoy it. I don't really spend a lot of time in the comments because it's not good for mental health.
No, it's not.
It's just really bad for it. So I just try to stay away from that and try to just stay focused on the work and the grind and the next thing that I have going on. So But either way, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm glad you invited me when we were at the Gundies. That's in case you didn't know, we were at the Gundies on Monday. Yes. And my man invited me to that or to this while we were there, and I was like, yeah, of course, man, let's do it.
Absolutely. And of course the Gundies, great opportunity, huge networking thing. Of course, many big names out there, and that's really cool. Even for hell, we were nominated for Reviewer of the Year, so that's really cool. And Kaya had his own for Most Dapper, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's the thing about this community is I don't think most people really care how big your accounts are.
Right.
I think we all like to work with each other just because it's good for all of us. We kind of lift each other up because the only people that are going to really want to lift each other up in this community is folks that are here doing the same stuff.
Correct.
So it's on us to kind of support each other.
Right.
And personally, I'm kind of newer to the firearms industry as a whole within 2 years, and first time at SHOT Show. Everyone is they're open, they're kind, they're just willing to talk to you. So I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. For the folks who don't know who you are.
Yeah, which there's probably plenty because I'm like a nobody. I'm just
I don't know. You got a good amount of subscribers.
Who is the man? You got to get into that. You have to.
I guess the type of content I'm known for, probably if I had to say, is just current events, current affairs, military technology, things happen around the world. History sometimes. I like getting into history stuff, especially military history. It's very military centric because I am still in the military, in the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. I've been in the Marine Corps for 11 years now. In May will be my 11th year, so I still got about 9 years to go. which a lot of people are like, why, you could get out or you could go reserves or something. No, I'm just gonna do it one fell swoop, the whole thing, get it knocked out, because then I can retire at 47 and then I can roll full time working for myself after that, and hopefully by that point I've established myself well enough where I can really get into like more philanthropy and stuff, which is
that's awesome.
That's really what I wanted to do this for, is to build a brand big enough where I can start doing good things for other people. And in order to get to a place where you can really do some serious philanthropy, you have to have excess. And so you have to build your brand, you have to build your business, you have to build onto everything. You have to build a foundation, and then you got to start building a house on it. I like, a lot of times I was telling somebody else this, like, I don't feel like I've done really. I feel like I haven't done anything. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything yet. I feel like I'm still here trying to get it off of the ground almost, and I try to maintain that perspective because, number one, it keeps me hungry.
Right.
Number two, it keeps me humble because, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm not trying to be this guy that's like, hey, I'm Mr. Famous and popular and you should know who I am, and none of that shit. I don't care about that. I don't care how many followers or subscribers I have. That's not why I do this. I appreciate everyone who supports my channels. It means a lot, because if it weren't for the people that subscribe or that follow me, this wouldn't reach anyone. Nobody would ever see my stuff. But at the end of the day, those are just numbers as far as, like, how big you are and all that stuff. Like, at the end of the day, like, for me, what's most important is, like, the impact that I can have on people, whether I'm teaching them something, whether I'm, like, raising awareness about something that's important in our community, whether it's veteran, active duty, military, law enforcement, guns, whatever it is. And like, the impact, like the positive impact that I can leave while I'm on this earth, because from dust we came and to dust we shall return one day. And so I want to do the best I can to do something that's good for people in the community that I'm a part of while I'm here on this earth. So I know that seems like, oh, wow, that's really lofty and philosophical. Wow, it's just how I feel. Like, one day we're all going to die, and I want, I've taught so many people I've talked to is like, you can always measure how valued a person was, but based on how many people show up to their funeral.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that's. And that's kind of like how the whole thing started for me, was because I wanted to help people.
Right.
And you have to get there. You have to get there by building stuff, man. You can't get there without grinding, and it is a lot of work, and sometimes it's thankless, and sometimes I don't know if people like it or not, because I don't spend much time in the comments or DMs. But that's why talking to people like you guys is nice, because it's like, it's nice to know that people do appreciate this stuff, and and that they they like the things that I'm doing, because otherwise I wouldn't know, and I'd just be like toiling.
And I think that goes to show, just first of all, epic monologue right there. That was just
sorry. I drone on sometimes.
Brothers, that's awesome. And so, like, that's great to let people know, like, he is the same throughout, and I think that's awesome. They tell you to never meet your heroes, man, and you give inspiration to guys actively currently getting out, and I think that goes to show brick by brick.
I appreciate that, man.
And not only like what you just said, but if you go back on the channel, your shorts, that's how I found you, with shorts. The whole thing that happened with Asheville, I mean, you were all over that. I actually watched you every day with your updates, or however often you would actually post them, to keep up with what was going on over there.
I was spamming it for a minute because I'm from Asheville. Like, I joined the Marine Corps out of Asheville. Like, I joined it out of Hendersonville, but I was living in Asheville at the time.
Right.
And when I retire, it's going to be in Western North Carolina, out in the mountains, because, like, that's where my heart is. That's where I feel most at home.
Right.
I like waking up in the morning out in the mountains of, like, the Appalachian Mountains out there is like, there's nothing quite like it.
No.
I've never felt more at home than anywhere like on the planet in my life, other than that part of the world. And the people are so nice, and they're the salt of the earth. They give you the clothes off their back. They feed you. Like, everywhere we went, people were asking us if we were hungry. And it's like, we're just there dropping supplies off.
Right.
And they're the ones who are actually impacted by it. And they're like offering us food every time we go everywhere. It was, it is, and what's weird is I saw a comment saying, oh, you just posted about the California fires because, like, it's for clout, and you just did the stuff for North Carolina for clout. Like, why aren't you out here flying around dropping supplies in California? It's like, dude, I can't be everywhere. Like, I want to raise awareness about things that are important.
Right.
But Asheville is my home. So,
right.
yes, I'm going to go home there to do what I can to help the people of Western Carolina. My brother goes to school at Western Carolina University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, we lived in Hendersonville for a few years when my parents had moved up there from Fayetteville in 2006. Okay. And we went up there because I was still, like, pretty young at the time. I was like 19. And then we lived in the mountains from 2006 until 2014 when I enlisted. Right. And so, I felt like I had a vested interest in doing something. Obviously, it's hard to leave base to go do stuff. I had to put leave in, and I had to make sure that it was okay with my command before I left, because I don't want them to see me. If I happen to some reason end up on the news, I don't want them to freak out and be like, "What are you doing?" So I just saying good communication. And there's plenty of people out there that have gone up there that have done way more than me. I was like, I need to do something. I don't care how little, how big. I did a bunch of fundraising. We raised $80,000 over the course of over the course of 2 months. I think it was 2 months. I think we raised 25,000 on Instagram for an organization called Mountain Projects, which is based out of Waynesville, North Carolina. Okay. I went and visited them while I was out there to make sure that they understood that I was a real person and the money was going to their account, and I communicated with them until they received the money. And then I also did a fundraiser on Give, Send, Go, and GoFundMe as well. So we did the Give, Send, Go one was the second one where we were raising money for tents. Okay. And we raised, I think, $35K, and then we bought 20 of these giant tents that were close to $1,000 a pop, with fireplaces, wood burning stoves for each of them, with fireproof mats, and then we distributed them throughout the state. One of the places was called Double Island, and it's up near Green River, which got hit really hard. It's a really small, remote area. And this place, Double Island, has a huge concert venue that this guy just owned a bunch of land on. And the fire department there had coordinated with the Amish to come down to build tiny homes for people, but they needed places to stay. So we brought out, and I was coordinating with the Save Our Allies group, that Tim Kennedy, Sarah Verado, Chad Robichaud founded back in the day, for the evacuation of Kabul. They were out there. They're still out there doing work, helping the people in Green Mountain. But they've been out there since the very beginning, since this stuff happened, at the beginning of October. And so they linked me up with these folks in Double Island, because they're like, yeah, hey, we got a place that you can bring this that'll do some good. So we donated, I think, 15 tents to them. I think it was 15 tents. We might have had 25 to start. I can't remember the numbers specifically, but
now when you say tents, how big are these tents? Because I don't know that most people know.
You could sleep 5 people in them. They're gigantic. They look like those tents you see in Civil War films, where it's like a
center mass pitch.
It's a circular. It's a circular one, kind of like a
circus one almost, but not circusy.
What's the word for it? Like a yurt. A yurt. Okay. And you could. There's a portion on the roof of the tent or the top that's built out of this fireproof material. So you cut a hole in it, and it shows you how big the hole is, and you can shove the stovepipe up through that. So they're built for having wood burning stoves in there. And so that's why we also bought all the wood burning stoves and fireproof mats, so that you could put a mat, stove, stick the stove up through the top of the tent, and then that way the Amish or anyone else that we gave them to, all the Amish came down and they were staying at this place in these tents that we donated to these guys, so that way they could go around building homes for people that lost them from the hurricane. So I think that ended up being more impactful than just giving them to people that lost their homes, because then they can get good housing, decent housing. So we did that. I gave them to I gave a couple tents away to another organization that was collecting supplies and distributing them out there in Swannanoa. And then I gave a couple of tents to a couple other folks that I just come across that their homes had been destroyed, and I set them up for them. Or somebody that been displaced, gave some of them away, and then left a couple with the Save Our Allies group to give them away to other people once I ran out of time, because I was up there on Veterans Day weekend that weekend doing that. So it was during the 96 that we had. Went up there for the weekend, just did work out there, so that was good. But yeah, it's been crazy, man. And there's still people. I mean, from what I understand, the water is still not clean or not potable, so they're still having to. I mean, you can wash your hands with it, but you can't drink it. So I think all the restaurants are still serving bottled water exclusively for consumption. If you have a well, obviously different. When I was up there, I stayed in an Airbnb in Black Mountain, and you could drink the water out of the tap there because they had well water, so it was okay. But a lot of these folks that were in the city, they're still in a position where they can't drink the water because the water treatment facility got wrecked.
Yes.
And then also, I mean, we went all over the place. The first time I went up there was crazy because, it was only about 12 days after the storm had hit. So, you saw a lot of crazy stuff.
Devastation.
I mean, where did we go? We went to I didn't really get to spend much time in Asheville. I went to the smaller places around. Like we were in Spruce Pine.
Okay.
We stopped in Spruce Pine at the volunteer fire department of West Yancey Fire Department out there, volunteer fire department. Talked to some people there. I went to Chimney Rock, interviewed the mayor of Chimney Rock.
No longer there.
They got crunched. They got destroyed.
Absolutely.
Talked to a couple people that own businesses there. Interviewed them. Interviewed some of the 101st Airborne guys. Interviewed some guys out of the 82nd that were out there at the Asheville airport. Yeah. Went to Barnardsville. There's a small community distribution center in Barnardsville we went to. What was another one? Oh man. Why am I forgetting the name of this place? Oh man, this is gonna upset me if I can't remember. I need to look it up now.
You're good.
Google it.
What's the name of this damn place? I'm just drawing a blank. My brain's so fried from this whole week of just being here in SHOT Show.
Yeah,
well, this is your 4th podcast today, so it's understandable.
I mean, that does not help the simple fact, right? Like,
yeah, Asheville. I know it's just Marshall.
Okay.
Yeah, I went up to Marshall. They had a couple of distribution centers. I interviewed the local chief of police there, and interviewed a couple of the folks that were running the local distribution center. I interviewed the mayor as well, and a couple of business owners. It's pretty wild to see a lot of this stuff. The weird thing I noticed, the kind of a trend across these places that got destroyed, like super destroyed, is the fact that like the locals that own businesses and things like that were not like owned by the federal government were getting totally rebuilt and renovated before I had even got up there. They had already gutted most of the first floor of the entire town and were like cleaning stuff out. Meanwhile, the post office there was completely wrecked, looked the same exact way it did right after storm. Because it's a federal business, like a federal property. There's probably like all this bureaucracy they have to go through to like recover the mail because it was full of people's mail and stuff. And I don't know the process for that, but it's probably very complicated. So that was one thing. The post office there was still wrecked when I first got there. It looked like the same way it did right the day after. Wow. Meanwhile, the rest of the businesses had already gutted the entire thing and took all the drywall out that was ruined. Because like the entire first floor of every building of Marshall had gotten completely filled up to the second floor with water. Wow. Like completely. So, and which is wild because when you're on the bridge in Marshall, there's this bridge that goes over the river there, and that water was like 30, 40 feet below the bridge when I was there. So you got to think about how high the water was during the hurricane that brought it way up that high.
Dude, that's crazy.
Like that means that there must have been a 40-foot swell, which is insane to think about, like, and then of course, like you look at, Chimney Rock and Bat Cave, man, like they got absolutely wrecked. Like the whole town was gone. Yeah. It was crazy. That was unbelievable. And some people, I think this guy, I don't remember if this guy lost his cat or not, man. I felt horrible for him because like his wife and him had got out of their house because it got ripped out and shoved down the river. And all these houses got yanked off the foundation and pushed down into Lake Lure. And like there's just pile of debris. Everywhere. Just debris up there.
I've seen some videos on it too. Like first off, you can see them houses floating down, or chunks of houses just floating down a river, and then even in where they landed, there's just parts everywhere, pieces, wood, everything.
Dude, and I was talking to people. I was like, "There's bodies in there.
Yeah,
100%. There's bodies in there right 100%. Now, and they haven't because nobody's allowed to go over to like look in it and touch or find out. And there's somebody was saying that there was like 30 feet of debris on the surface of the water at one point, like. Somebody was telling me that when it was like back in the early stages, just because it was so crazy. I mean, I got friends that work for the local local government over in like Old Fort too that were telling me about it, because Old Fort's like relatively close by over there too. But yeah, did spend some time in Black Mountain too. Went to an orphanage that's out there, the Black Mountain orphanage that they got. Then they have like a retreat center that got hit by landslides. Like, and it was nuts. Like, it's on my YouTube channel too. There's like the second video I posted about it. I went over and interviewed the guy that's like the head of the orphanage over there, and they had this retreat center that part of it got totally taken out by a rock slide, mudslide, and there's this like path. It's probably like maybe 100 or 200 meters across, like up the entire mountain that got totally wiped out by mudslide.
Wow.
Dang.
And it was, there's like, we walked out and there's this poured concrete foundation of where a building used to stand. Used to be a giant like a giant like hall for holding events and stuff like that, like an event hall,
like a venue,
like a venue.
Yeah.
And there used to be this giant venue that was there, and the whole building was gone. It was just the foundation left. You could see some of the porch that we were standing on.
Wow.
It was pretty ominous, and that's one of the things I don't think a lot of people realize is how damaging and devastating the mudslides were.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what took out the main road, right? Getting into, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like
40.
I-40
and it happens every time at that same spot. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that little bend. It always does.
And they're still rebuilding. I don't know how long it's going to take. There's like back roads you can take to get up to Tennessee from North Carolina. I think the Parkway for the most part is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't had an opportunity to go out to Silva or Cullowhee where my brother goes to school, but I still love that whole area, man. It's just so beautiful, like driving through there, man.
And it just goes to show, one thing you mentioned, philanthropy.
Yeah.
You have crossed that threshold over to the other side for sure. You knocked that out, and just hearing all of this, just wow, man, it's inspiring would be like belittling.
Yeah.
And again, kudos to you for using your platform and pushing that forward. And brother, I don't know what you have planned after service, but like if you do not get on a lecture circuit,
a lecture, well,
I need you talking to like the youth of America, bro. Like seriously,
well, I think I'll probably just do more podcasting probably when I get done.
I don't know, man. I could see you speaking at
speaking at events,
bro, and just like hell, you need to be in people's units, like cross throughout, bro. Like just speaking like life into it, and just your outlook, your experience, and everything that you have. It's so pure, and it's just unadulterated, just awesomeness. And I really do love that. I was going to ask you, like, especially you still being in right now, how does, I mean, obviously got to put that little disclaimer, not the thoughts of the DOD. So how does that play in your professional life, with you still working actively? Like, is there a clash of clans basically when it comes to it? Does your command dig on you?
Actually, that's a very good question, because I feel like a lot of people who are in the military try to get into a little bit of YouTube, whether it's shorts or Instagram, and so I am curious as to how that kind of works with you.
Yeah. Well, first off, I appreciate the compliments, man. Like, I don't consider anything that I say to be any more remarkable than what anyone else says. I think that I just, I try to speak from the heart and just be honest about stuff, and just speak my thoughts and opinions on certain things that I'm legally allowed to discuss openly without any problems. Obviously, while I'm in civilian attire, because my thoughts and opinions are my own, and they aren't reflecting the Department of Defense or anything like that. But I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of haters that come out, because I mean, I guess if you want to say that I've found any level of success, I guess you could say that maybe my channels have been able to slowly grow, and as that stuff happens, maybe people get jealous, or maybe people just like think, why does this person deserve this? Like I do a better job than they do about stuff, or that like this guy sucks, and I did the same thing when I was young, when I was like getting started. I was like, why do these people have like millions of followers? Like they're awful. Like they're terrible representation. They're a terrible example of like for others to emulate. They don't really do anything to help other people. They don't do any philanthropy. They're all about themselves. They're just doing all these ads and making crap tons of money, and they're not doing anything to help anybody. Now, that's because I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Yeah. That's also because I'm comparing myself to them. And you can't do that, because comparison is the thief of joy, number one. And there's lots of people that are far more successful than me in this community. Way, tons of people. Like, I am small time. I'm not like that. I'm not super Mr. Popular. I'm not like the most famous dude. I'm not like, I'm also not like I'm not special. Like, I think the problem is when I first got started, I was just like frustrated with how hard it was, because like the only way you can really build a platform is it takes work. It takes
100% of the time.
You have to have your foot on the gas every day, nonstop, constantly, over and over again. And that means whether you're sick, whether you're feeling good, whether you got family in town. That means maybe you take less vacations, maybe you spend less time with friends. And it takes consistency, you know, and I just was like, I'm going to figure this out, and I just kept grinding, and that's led me to the place I'm at today. Whether or not you want to say I've been successful or not, I'll leave that up to the interpretation of other people. It's not really up to me to decide. I don't feel like I've done shit, like I said, but I've had people along this process who, for some reason or another, didn't like me, and I had people that used to like serial call NCIS on me to try to get me, like to try to get me in trouble. I've probably had people call my command before numerous times. You know, it got to a point where, and I found out who the individual specifically was at the time, and I made sure that I passed that information on to NCIS because they're clogging up the pipeline for actual criminals that are committing crimes. And said, hey, this is the individual, because they posted a video about it bragging on the internet, and that's when they got caught. And after I let them know, like, hey, this person's been harassing me and my wife. You know, this is their information, this is who they are, this is their name, this is who they're married to, then it stopped, you know, because, like, dude, just let people do their thing. Don't go around trying to cause problems with people's lives. Like, if they're going to get in trouble, they're going to get in trouble. You know what I mean? And I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not going around lying about stuff. I'm not stealing from people. I'm not cheating people out of money. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm trying to do the best I can to be a good ambassador of the organizations that I represent, inadvertently or, you know, on purpose, right? But again, my command has been very supportive of a lot of the things that I do. They know that I'm here right now. I took leave to be here. Like, I'm not just like out here for free. Like, I took leave to come out here. It was something I had preordained like multiple months ago. So that way it's like, I'm not jacking, you know, I'm not causing issues
in the pipeline.
In the pipeline. I'm not like creating problems or delaying things that need to get taken care of work-wise. You know, and they've been very, very supportive. I've been very fortunate that they've been very supportive, because they know that I genuinely give a shit. Because that's the important piece.
And that's a blessing to have a command that actually backs you up on that. Like, for real.
Because it's not always the case. So I've been very fortunate with that. And it may not always be the case in the future. I may end up in a command one day where they're like not supportive and they don't like what I'm doing. And then we'll deal with that when the time comes. But I'm going to keep my ducks lined up in a row, and I'm going to keep my nose clean, and I'm going to keep my lawyer on retainer, and we'll be fine. But at the end of the day, like, they've been very supportive of me, thankfully, so that there doesn't create any more excess friction than needs to be there. And the Marine Corps as a whole, like, they know who I am, like, you know what I mean? And obviously I do whatever I can to help support the Marine Corps' brand, because I want to be a good ambassador. I want people to join the Marine Corps because this organization has changed my life for the better. And I've met a ton of great people and made a ton of connections with folks I would have never otherwise come into contact with. People of all walks of life, all creeds, nationalities, races, genders, rich, poor, nobody cares. And it has been a absolute blessing for me, because I've met some unbelievably kind-hearted, hardworking, good mentors, leaders, and people that I want to emulate. I mean, I was talking, you know, I talk to so many people every day, but like, I still talk to one of my old platoon sergeants that promoted me to corporal and sergeant, and also, you know, he's I won't say who he is because I don't want to like put him on blast on the internet, but
don't dox him.
That makes sense.
but he's a good friend of mine, and he knows who he is, and you know, I try to stay in touch with these people and these relationships that I've built over the years with tons of people within the, you know, whether it be in the military, the veteran community, or the firearms industry or whatever. Like, networking and building those relationships is super important, because like, at the end of the day, like, we're going to care more about each other than somebody who's not part of our communities or our organizations.
Absolutely.
But bottom line is, to summarize that whole thing, they've been pretty supportive. I know what I understand, and I know what my left and my right lateral limits are, and I stay within those.
Stay within the parameters.
You have to understand what the orders say. You have to understand what you're allowed to talk about, what you're not allowed to talk about. Who you can criticize openly, who you can criticize on a camera, who you can criticize in private. You know, because at the end of the day, you're a sovereign human being. You can talk about, you can not like people, but you just don't put it out there on the internet, right? You try to maintain yourself in a professional way. You treat people respectfully. You treat people kindly. Be a nice person. Be a good dude. Be a good dude. be a good ambassador, and usually you're not going to have any problems. The problems people run into is when they post these videos where they're doing something illegal on camera, they're doing something they're not supposed to do that's against an order or something on camera. Right. There's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And I try to do it the right way as best I can. I make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes again in the future, but I try to correct it whenever I can. And that's pretty much it.
I think that's awesome, bro. And there's something that you mentioned that really pokes out to me. And again, old man told me one day, there's 2 routes that a man will make a choice in his life, and that's between success and significance.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 totally different outcomes.
Yeah.
One is, taking the way of the hair, but you can get burned out after a while, and then it'll fizzle. But I think you have abundantly made that clear that you have chosen significance in this. Yeah. Because the success has come.
The success will come. You just got to keep going.
It's already come. And pause. It's already come or happened. But what I'm saying to you is that it just in talking to you here, it resonates because I feel it. Yeah. And it's just genuine. And how this just your outlook, and you just keep this non-biased way. That's what I'm saying. You deliver it out. It's the way you deliver your information or your stuff. Like hearing you talk about the drone stuff in Ukraine or anything like that. It's just like you pose it as a question. Yeah. By still keeping it non-biased, but then it gives the people a chance to then provoke their own thoughts for saying, hey, maybe he's saying it like this, but this is how I interpret it. It's never a time where it said, well, you said it this way, so that's how it is. I've never seen that. Yeah. And I've gone through your comment list just to see what other people are thinking. And like it's pretty much overwhelmingly the same. Positive. Like it's always like, man, he just knows exactly what to say. He just knows what's going on. I don't know if you have kids or not, man. But
no, I don't have any kids yet.
Brother, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to be that dad who's like at the Little League, like giving the speeches, and like he's going to bring a tear to some like Little League, like kids are going to be crying, grabbing their moms and stuff like that. And I tell you that is some people are meant and born to be silent leaders. Yeah. And the reason why I say silent is because it's not meaning bolstering, beating my chest. Yeah. Some people are just, and it's few and far between. And you just have this, it's not even this silent gusto, bro. Yeah. And you just, like I said, the delivery, the way you put it out there for people to consume, the information that you're putting on, it's current, it's accurate.
It's genuine.
Yes.
I think that's one thing. Anybody who, watching this, they may not be able to get that 100% through camera, but it feels very genuine.
Yes, bro.
When you say things, I mean, even down to the shorts with Asheville, you would get the information, you would source it from people who are there. Yeah. Not just necessarily the news. What are they saying? No, you would find the information and you would deliver it in a very genuine way.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that to gas you up, bro.
No.
This has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It comes from a place of respect.
Yeah, it's a place of respect. I've never met you in life. Obviously it started at Gundy's. Yeah. But right now, I know that if I gave you something confidential, or if I gave you I know that you're going to be a good steward of that. Yeah. Already. And you can judge a man by his character, and you carry it so well, brother.
Well, seriously. I appreciate it first off, man. Yeah. And a man's, I mean, you're only as good as your reputation,
You never get a second chance.
You don't get a second chance. It's very hard. And like some people maybe get some second chances, but it's very hard. Right. And honestly, like part of it, to be honest with you, hold on, my lips are chapped. I've been talking all day.
Well, and it's the Vegas weather. It's very dry.
Yeah, and I feel that. Time, but I think for me, part of the reason I do this isn't even necessarily because it's like, hey, I want people to perceive me as being genuine, as much as like it feels good for me, and I can sleep well at night, and I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, you weren't being,
you weren't being a dick.
You weren't being a dick. You weren't being fake. You're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. You did the right thing, even if no one's looking. Right. You're carrying yourself in a way that is respectable and honorable, and you're living your life by an honorable code of ethics and a strong moral compass. Because like part of the reason why I think I have to do it like this is because, number one, I don't know a lot of people don't know this. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't use any mind-altering substances except for caffeine and nicotine because I'm still very addicted to nicotine. And that's my last vice that I've had for like 25 years or whatever. But that's the only caffeine and nicotine. These are the only two things that are like that I consume. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank since 2008.
Wow.
I don't use any drugs because it's against the zero tolerance policy for the military. But because of those things, like I don't have a way to numb out. I don't have a way to like get to a place where I can't like perceive myself and the things that I'm doing. It's like everything's very raw all the time. So if I don't live my life in a certain way, it physically causes me harm as a human being because if I was like lying to people or if I was like being fake about some stuff or if I didn't do the right thing in a scenario, even if nobody was looking, like it would eat me alive because like I have to live with that regardless. And like so most of this is coming from a self-centered standpoint, to be honest with you. It's not because I want people to perceive me that way. It's because I physically, it gives me anxiety and stresses me out. Like if I'm doing something I know I'm not supposed to do. And maybe I'm lucky I was blessed with good parents that raised me to do things in a certain way, and I had good grandparents and I had good leadership. But that's probably where that's the place that it's coming from is just like, I want to be able to get up and look myself in the mirror every morning and be like, you are doing the right thing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Because like that way, no matter what anyone says about me, I know in my own mind, because I am able to take my own accurate self-appraisals because I know that I do these things in a certain way. Because a lot of times people have a hard time taking an accurate self-appraisal because it's very hard for you to be critical of yourself. But I am my own worst enemy. I am very hypercritical of myself. So I know I'm harder on myself than anyone else is. And so if I keep myself accountable and hold myself accountable and hold myself responsible for my actions, then I don't need anyone else to do that for me. And so like nothing that they're going to say is going to matter because like I'm holding myself accountable and responsible
to the high standard.
To the highest standard I can possibly hold myself. And I'm doing it because it makes me feel good.
It's almost like therapeutic.
It's because it makes me feel good. So like I said, it's coming from a selfish place, but it is a positive thing in the end. But at the same time, that's why like, that's also partially why like I need to work out and exercise. Because that's my other like mental health place. That's like my therapy, dude. Like that's how I stay happy. If I don't work out for an extended period of time, I notice my mood and my demeanor and how I feel about life and my perspective becomes completely fucked. Becomes completely, and it only takes a couple weeks. And so if I maintain a good like level, like if I do some cardio, if I'm lifting every day, or at least like on a good routine, and I do the sauna, I'm in a good mental place. I feel good. My perspective's good. I'm not necessarily as stressed about stuff, and so that's like my biggest like mental maintenance is working out. So that's like that. I kind of like made that my centralized focus outside of just like living my life by a certain strict level of standards. And that doesn't have anything to do with the Marine Corps. It's just me as a person, which is probably why it's good that I ended up in the Marine Corps, because they have a pretty strict standard of living and carrying yourself as well. So we kind of line up very well because our ethos is very similar. And originally I was trying to join the Army. I tried to join the Army for 7 years. I don't know if anyone knows that, but it took me 7 years to get into the military, period, because I was a troublemaker when I was younger. But I'm not going to go into detail about that. But I was a troublemaker when I was younger. I was like partying all the time, getting messed up all the time. And I was a lonely kid, didn't really know how to make friends, wasn't very good at being social with people. Got much better about that as I got older and got, matured, and my brain developed after I was 25 and all that stuff. But it's been a long place to get here. It took me a long time to get to a place where I was like where I'm at now. Years of enduring pain, for, one reason or another. And, the more you learn about yourself, the more you can learn about like the things that work for you, that are good for you, and the things that maybe don't work so well for you. And you just kind of like, especially as you get older, you just kind of settle into your own ways. It's like can't teach an old dog new tricks. But, I don't know. Now I'm just kind of rambling, but
I mean, So maybe it kind of goes into that a little bit. How long have you been in social media, and why specifically did you get into social media on YouTube and Instagram and such? Like, what was the inspiration for that?
So I've had social media accounts for a while. I mean, like I had a bunch of impersonation accounts for years when I first joined the Marine Corps, because once you start posting pictures in military uniform, all the West Africans like love stealing your pictures, like because there's a big what's it called, romance scams, especially out of Nigeria, the country of Nigeria specifically. And a lot of those West African countries, it's like a $2 or $3 billion industry over there is conducting romance scams, because they've been able to convince people that they are somebody that's like in love with them, or they're going to get married, and they convince people to give them money and stuff. So because people kept giving people money, they kept doing it. It's like the Nigerian prince emails way back in the day,
right.
And then people would fall for it, and they send them their credit card information, and they just run off with all their money or whatever. But that was, I had social media through my whole career, and then 2022 was like a real pivotal turning point for me. And I just told Chad Robichaud this on the podcast we shot this morning, but basically in 2022, I was scrolling through Facebook. I don't ever scroll through Facebook. I don't really consume a lot of content anymore. I just don't have a lot of time. But I happened to be scrolling through Facebook, and I saw a post of this Marine with his parents, and he's standing on the parade deck at Parris Island in South Carolina.
Okay.
And the Uvalde, Texas shooting had just happened. This post was this post was for a GoFundMe that was being ran for this Marine's parents. And I looked into it a little bit more. Well, it turns out his mother was killed in the shooting in Uvalde. She was an elementary school teacher. And then his father died later that week from like heart failure. I don't know, from a broken heart or from what, but he lost both of his parents within 1 week of each other. And this kid was a Marine reservist at a college in Texas. And I don't remember his name for the life of me. I just remember, like, I felt like, I need to do something about this. Maybe I can get the word out. And I sent it to like 100 people, like sent it to everybody I knew, gave them an explanation, brief description of what was going on. And I watched, because this kid just lost both of his parents, and the GoFundMe was to help pay for the funerals and help pay for the kids and stuff. And so I watched it ended up getting shared by some really big pages, like that one page, The Typical Liberal on Instagram. He'd shared it, and it got thousands of views, which is wild for me, because at the time I had 3,000 followers, maybe less. I just didn't have a following. I didn't ever like really grow or try to grow. And then so it blew up. I watched the GoFundMe go up by like multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars that day.
Wow.
And at least I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, I think it went up by a lot that day. Regardless, I remember it going up a lot, and I was blown away by that. And I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to build a platform big enough where I don't need to ask anyone for help. I can just go out there and do it myself now without having to coordinate anything or without having to reach out to people. I just want to be able to post stuff, share stuff that has that positive impact or could help support something that's important to me or important to people in our community. And so that was like the defining moment for like where I got started from, was that. And so I was like, okay, so the only way we can do this is if we post 20 videos a day. Okay. So like for the first like, I think for the rest of the year of 2022, I was just posting videos, not with my face in it at all. It was just videos, posting 10 to 20 a day. 20 a day most of the time.
Like hour by hour, or will you post them all at once?
I would just try to post as many as I could throughout the day, and it usually I set that goal post of I'm going to post 20 videos today, and it was just reposted content from other videos, and I would put a funny caption or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, simple. And then when I deployed to Iraq, deployed to CENTCOM, I was in Iraq and Syria during that period of time. In February of 23, and I was there for 6 months. But when I got out there, I changed the content I was doing. I started posting stitch videos, like when you have the video that plays in the front end, and then you pop in as you talk, and you give your comments. Yeah. And I started doing that every single video. Like every video was a stitched video.
Yeah.
And I just did that on TikTok, and I reposted it all on Instagram and YouTube and everything after that. And so I was doing that for months and months and months and months. The entire deployment, because I had Wi-Fi, I had a Wi-Fi puck, so I was able to post it from inside of my chew. Because obviously OPSEC, nobody knew I was there. Yeah. Like I was wearing my frog top the whole time because I was like in the uniform of the day, and I would like stop to make videos while I was on my lunch break sometimes, and I would try to like rip out like 5, 6, 7 videos, and then I would go to lunch, and then I would go work out or whatever. You know, I was doing that. I was trying to get 10 videos a day for the entire time I was there, 10 a day, consistently every single day. And then when I got back from there, I did that and I continued. I was no longer filming the content inside of frog attire. I was just in civilian attire from that point on, because I was like, I mean, I'm back in the United States. Right. I'm not going to just like film content in my uniform in my house anymore. Right. So I stopped doing it. And that was like, I got back in August of 2023. That's the last time I was like filming in the desert frog top that I'd probably, a lot of people probably found out about me from, because I was consistently doing it the whole time. And then going forward from that point, it was just like mostly in civilian attire. And then I finally, I was saving up the entire time. And then by the time I think it was like the springtime, like January, February of 2024. Okay. I finally bought my Sony camera.
And that's when everything
finally got my computer. Right. Finally got my office all set up. And that's when I changed everything. Yeah. I stopped doing stitching. I stopped stitching videos. I was like, let's start doing some current events, current affairs stuff. And I saw a lot of other creators out there doing this thing where they're doing like a split screen where you're on the bottom and there's like a video playing on the top, and you're kind of narrating it and explaining what's happening.
That's where I came in.
And you're talking, and you're talking about what's happening. And this is playing so that people can be like, oh crap, and then they can listen to what I'm saying and be like, oh, that's what's happening in this video. Because a lot of people that haven't served may not understand what's happening. So it's kind of getting people like up to speed, like breaking stuff down Barney style almost, so everybody can be on the same level, same page. And so that's kind of where that came in. And I've been doing that style pretty much ever since. Yeah. You know, sometimes I'm green screened in it because I can green screen where it's like good quality camera footage, green screened with something that's big in the background going on. Sometimes it's just a single post, not like a photo post of like, hey, this is a picture of something that happened, and then here's a description of it, like just telling a story, like updating people on something that's happening around the world.
Like when the drones do their thing.
Yeah, or whatever it is, you know. And so that's kind of how my content has evolved over time. It started off, I wasn't even putting my face in the videos. And then it started like, I was stitching every video. And now it's like, hey, I'm actually doing something that's like actually tangibly beneficial to people in some way.
So I feel like there's going to be a natural progression for more. I feel like there's going to be like a platform that you're going to build.
I don't know if I'll be able to platform. I'll probably still use their platforms. I don't have the energy.
I don't know. Stuff. I don't know, brother. I feel like it would be like cool to see like a website.
Yeah.
And it's like a catalog. You're scrolling, and then it's like sheared out, and you can see everything. You know, they're playing like, I don't know what's that called. I don't know, web design, whatever. But it's like just a way to build a catalog like that where you can go back to this. Yes, it is current events, but you still can go back to it, and just something that's a little bit more seamless than like Instagram. And when I say that, it's you know what I'm saying, like a catalog stuff. And when it comes to like people who I at least personally, me personally, who I look at when it comes to current events, news, or what's going on, or just to be in the know, like, you know, it's you, Northern Provisions, and probably like real news, no bullshit. Like that's what I primarily.
Northern Provisions. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Yeah, good. Yeah. We get coffee every so often.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up.
He's a great dude. I definitely don't want to give anything. He loves being anonymous for sure. Yeah. But he and I work together a lot for sure. We try to do whatever we can to get information out to people that's like kind of unfiltered and raw and not politically biased or not motivated by some ideology, you know, just because it's like, and a lot of the stuff we talk about is military a lot of the time, but also just current events like, hey, you know, there's a mass stabbing that happened over here, or hey, you know, President Trump's getting ready to do a virtual tele network or something with the World Economic Forum.
Oh yeah,
like a virtual. He's going to be virtually present at the World Economic Forum in Davos for something coming up, and like that's something that we would probably talk about because it's current events, you know.
Or the entire state of California being on fire.
Yeah, you know? That or the entire state of California being on fire, and like all the things that are happening with that, you know.
Yeah.
But there's, I'm sure it'll evolve. One of the things I'm really focusing on that I want to to focus on more is long form YouTube content because it's more sustainable. Okay. There's better longevity to it.
Right.
And then I can use that to fund all these other things that I'm doing. And so there's a lot more longevity to YouTube long form content. So I would always encourage people to check that out. But then I'm also trying to stream on Twitch on the weekends and like play video games because I grew up playing video games all the time.
I was going to say I was just watching Halo Reach.
I just started. Yeah. Well, yeah, my brother and I put together a recording of us playing Halo Reach all the way through on Legendary. We did the same thing for Halo 1. Yeah. And then we're getting ready to, next time he comes down, probably in February, we're going to try to get through all of Halo 2 on Legendary, which is going to be like a hair pulling out experience.
Dude, I've done that.
Yeah. I like that idea because we have like 3 channels between Classic Firearms, which is our main push, right? Yeah. We got CF Podcasts. 4 CF Clips, which you run.
That's what I use.
And then we've got Outside the Warehouse. And I know we did like Outside the Warehouse is where it's like a backup, but it's almost like a backup main as well. Because
it's where we can have fun.
It's where we can have fun, but not only that, it was created so just in case if the edgelords want to, from Google or YouTube, want to strike it down, Classic Firearms, you get strike down the channel, we have a backup place to recover, right? Yeah. But it's where we have fun. We do these challenges. We play these games. I mean, we have these, like whose line is it anyway? The Price is Right.
We did a Call of Duty video.
And that's where I'm getting to. So you just mentioned that. We did a 2-versus-2 Team Classic versus Team Classic,
nice.
Call of Duty video. And this man set it all up.
I want to preface this. He says, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good at Call of Duty.
I'm okay. It's like I haven't played in a while, bro.
I would get smoked. I haven't played Call of Duty in so long.
Bro, and like our head of, like our director, Ryan Coble, like he is literally, I shit you not, could be probably professional. Yeah. Like I'm not even kidding. John, is that right? Like John's sick at Call of Duty.
Ryan? Yes, Ryan.
Ryan, sorry, John. I'm saying John. Ryan's sick at Call of Duty.
One of the most elite Call of Duty players
like,
I've ever seen.
So,
bro, from across the map, I'm getting like knifed, and I'm just like, what's going on, bro? Like,
oh my god,
his reaction time. So he used to do, and he won't ever really. He's very humble about it, right?
Yeah.
But he used to play almost professionally. Maybe he did play pro, but and his reaction, he can just pick up the controller and
it doesn't matter what platform, what console. Right. Like he's just elite.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
And I think that'd be awesome to like, hey, you're gonna launch that Twitch. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, because we were gonna do. We're trying to put together a live stream, like a Call of Duty live stream or something like that. So maybe one day we can make that happen. But
sure. Yeah, I mean, I've one of the things one of the things I really want to do is I want to build my Twitch. Yeah. I want to build my Twitch up to be a gigantic million follower platform.
Okay.
And then I want to be able to do stuff live on there where we talk through stuff and like I record it and like the chat can interact and we can like discuss things about current events on Twitch and then take large clips of that, cut it out, send it to my editors, and then post those on YouTube, which is what a lot of folks do.
With you having all these platforms, I do think I get what you were saying before. Having a website that you have, because you can actually make
I have a website.
Okay, you do. I didn't.
Yeah. I just don't post any of my like content on my website. It's mostly just like, hey, it's got an about me section. It's got my merch. Yeah. My merch is listed on there.
Right. Well, and you can actually hook these websites up to your accounts, and it will automatically just kind of catalog and put your content on there.
Yeah. Well, my YouTube is connected, so my podcast is on my website, so it's on there. I just have to update it, but. Yeah, so that's for sure happening. But I definitely also the other cool thing is, well, I've got a Discord too.
Okay,
got a big Discord that we're continuing to try to grow, and then that works hand in hand with the Twitch, because if I go live on Twitch, then it pings the Discord, and everyone in the Discord will know I'm live. It also provides people an opportunity to interact with me when they don't normally get to, because I just don't have time to look at the comments or my DMs on Instagram or on any of these other platforms, really. So it's just another way for me to be able to engage with people and talk to people, and like them to actually get actual responses because they can talk to me about things.
Right.
And so it's just another way to connect and it'll help support all of my channels across the board anyway, So I definitely, and plus I need to take breaks, and playing video games is like a good break from just the grind of making content and everything like that. So like not only can you can achieve multiple things at once. You get to engage with your audience.
Yep.
They get to talk to you. They can ask questions. They can talk to me about things, ask my opinion on stuff. If I'm allowed to talk about it, I can talk about it, and then they can also hop in games with me and play video games with me, which we've been doing. That's why I try to play games that are like multiplayer, like Helldivers 2 or Dead by Daylight.
Oh, I like that one.
We're getting ready to try to do some collabs with, I don't know if you guys know Awful Alley. Do you know her? Yeah, she's an Army vet. She actually lives here in Vegas. Super nice girl. Right. She's got a Twitch as well. She does a lot of Twitch streaming, and she recommended that we play like Fall Guys.
Oh,
because you could get a big group of people in there. You can just like have an invite link or get everybody that's watching the stream to join, and then people can play with you. And it's like you're all kind of being friends and like messing around and having a good time together. That when they don't necessarily get a lot of opportunities to hang out.
Right.
So you can do that, and then also do like a live show on Twitch where you're like talking about some stuff that happened, and maybe you like watch some videos with them and be like, check this out. This is what I think is happening, or this is what I've read up on about this. And then people can watch that. They could be there for the stream. And then if if they miss it, then you post it to your YouTube, and they can find it there after it's edited by the editors. And there's just like, a lot of opportunity there for sure. Right. I'm not like, I think the most lucrative platforms by far right now are definitely YouTube and Twitch, if you can get a big following on Twitch, and subscriptions and stuff like that. But maybe it'll change. I know a lot's changing with Meta, so it could
especially currently.
Yeah, it could change.
If some of those things that they told us about actually come true, it could be a pretty big platform coming up.
And if you ever get into Destiny.
Yeah, I played Destiny when it first came out.
I know a guy.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just bad relationship.
Yeah.
Most toxic relationship in my life.
Yeah, I played Destiny when it first came out. The first one. I think I played through it for a while, maxed a guy out before, like at the time there's like a level cap or something like that. And then after that level cap, after I hit it, I stopped playing completely because I just didn't have time for it. And then Destiny 2 came out. And then I started playing that, and I capped my level off when the first cap that was set, and then I stopped playing it again as well. Yeah, because it was fun. I had a good time, but it's just like I just ran out of time, and I had beaten it.
Well, and also when you get to those caps, it's kind of like, why continue? But
I don't know, man. Prestiging is a thing.
Yeah. But either way, like I also love video games too. So like. If I could get into making more video game content on top of the current events, current affairs, and a lot of vets and people in our community like video games too. So it's like, it's just something else that people want to watch. Then it's just something else that they can do. So,
dear Infinity Ward, I know who you could get to be your new operator or one of as operator.
Infinity Ward,
Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer games. I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't know if they went. I don't know if I'm cool enough for them, but. Yeah, hit me up if you want. If you want it.
You got to look. You got the tattoos and everything. So
yeah, I don't know. I like tattoos, but I don't know if that qualifies me to be one of the characters in a video game.
I don't know, man. It's a vibe.
I would love to do it though. That'd be fun. I know. Who is it that we know that does Call of Duty? Babe, who does Call of Duty?
Oh, April.
April.
Oh.
April Rose.
Okay.
Yeah, so we know April Rose. She's a friend of ours. April Nicole's
okay.
Yeah. I think she's in Call of Duty, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are right now at Chacho who are in Call of Duty. You got Alex Zedra.
Yeah, Zedra.
Mara on there. Tulam, of course. You've got Tony from Real War Tactical. He's Lurch.
Yeah. Dude, if I was in a Call of Duty game, that would be like, okay, you've made it.
Yeah.
like, if you end up in a Call of Duty game, let's say, okay, you probably made it, bro. Like, Call of Duty is like one of the most mainstream things ever.
Yes,
you know?
100%. 100%. So,
I don't know. We'll see.
Just make a deal that like every year your character goes to the next game. Otherwise, you're gone in like 12 months.
Yeah. I first off, I don't think that I fit what they're looking for. But if I did, they'd probably be like, yeah, this is okay for one season, but we're gonna drop this guy because he's like. Yeah, he's not where we need to find somebody that's a little more controversial.
Limited time release.
Yeah, limited time release just for the holiday special or something like that. Yeah. Downloadable content that we can make people pay $20 for.
There you go.
Or whatever.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to do more video game stuff on the weekends for sure, just because like it's a good way for me to decompress.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because I work too much and I don't hang out with anybody. I don't go do anything. So like that's like kind of like hanging out with people if you're in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good way to catch up with people too. Like I play video games all the time with people I haven't seen in years, but I follow them or at least in games. So we play, and we talk, and I know what's going on in their life. So
so just another avenue. Plus, I love playing video games with my brother, and I'm trying to get him to like get into doing Twitch streaming and YouTube and stuff like that too. Once he's done like with his schooling, helping his girlfriend move and stuff like that. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So where do you see? I mean, we've gone over so much, man. I mean, your work in this game and in this industry, pretty much the selflessness that you've got going on. Where the next 5 years,
bro, it's gonna be a fucking.
I feel like
I'm so tired from not only SHOT Show, but just from the grind of the past 3 years that I've been like really trying to put the work in on this, man.
Grand scale. Yeah. You don't have to get specific.
I mean, in the next 5 years, I would like to have a YouTube channel that's got like 2 or 3 million subscribers. I'd love to average like 500 to 1 million views per video. I'd love to have like a few 100,000 followers on Twitch that I can stream to and like talk to and play video games with and like make YouTube content from my Twitch to post on YouTube. That's something I really want to get into. I'd like to do some more live streaming stuff where we talk about current events live.
Right.
I would like to get to a point where my office is cooler and more interesting to watch me in, like maybe get some like neon signs in there,
like the fat electrician and his new area that he just put up.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's probably cool. Like he's been crushing it too. Like if you can get your YouTube to be very successful, then you can do a lot of good things. So that's something I really want to get into more, is like just get my YouTube to take off into the stratosphere so I can do more things. I'd like in 5 years I'd like to be able to do giveaways, like financial giveaways to people. Like I'd like to be able to give stuff away to followers, like, and not something that's like, hey, you need to follow me. Just like, hey, is there somebody or work with other nonprofits that can direct me to people that need help? Yeah. I think that's probably a better idea, is doing it like that. Because I got a lot of friends who run nonprofits. So like they just keep in touch with them and like be more capable of raising awareness about like whatever's going on with those folks. But I would like to be able to give away more money to these organizations, especially for specific situations that pop off onesies and twosies here and there.
Right.
I'd also like to what's it called? I'd like to I just had it in my head. I'd like to do more podcasts.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay. Whether it's on other people's podcasts or having my own, having people on mine, because I like talking to people, and I really want to build that so that can be another form of content that I'm putting out there.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually watch a Weather Channel YouTuber. Surprise, surprise, Jason.
What?
But yeah, and he actually started this whole thing where he does live streams whenever a major event happens. So, for example, hurricane's coming through. Live streams the whole thing. He's got people on the ground. They're connected to an app. That app, you can actually see their camera, and he's actually chatting with them live.
That's
what's
crazy.
going on. It's really cool.
Wild.
But they're very big now. His name's Ryan as well. But now he started a whole 501(c) to actually donate and help these people when these things come through. So they're on the ground when it happens, recording it, telling people to get out of the way, be prepared, and then helping them after the fact too. So making sure that people get supplies. Like they went to Walmart and bought a whole truckload of just like waters and food and supplies that people would need, and drove it out to the hurricane relief out in Nashville.
Yeah,
so.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's another thing that I also want to do is like I would love to start a foundation that somebody else runs for me, because I don't have the bandwidth for it, which you would never. That's how you would normally do it. You have someone else run that. But I would like to, and I've talked to a buddy of mine about this. I won't say who his name is, but I've talked to a buddy of mine, and I told him like one of the things I'd love to do is like build a retreat center in the Appalachian Mountains, Western North Carolina, like for vets and for veterans and anybody that's like active duty or law enforcement, emergency responders, like specifically geared towards that. like a retreat center that people can just get away from life to go to, whether you're, for tons of reasons. Like there's like, maybe if, they're having drug or alcohol problems or they're, just dealing with, post-traumatic stress or dealing with TBI stuff, and maybe have like a medical facility somewhere around there. But like a big thing I would love to have is just like a big outdoor, like, maybe I find like some billionaire sponsor that wants to buy a big plot of land and build like a complex on it for veterans to like basically go on like vacations to get away from stuff.
Wow.
To get away from life, because that would be really cool. And I'd want to do it in the mountains because it's so beautiful up there.
Right.
And it's like I know how I feel when I'm up there, which is at home.
Right.
And then maybe just like have a second home for people to come stay at, if they're going through stuff, specifically geared towards like veteran active duty, military law enforcement, first responders, stuff like that, because that's, those are the folks that probably have the highest stress jobs in the nation, like deal with the most stressful stuff, and they're seeing death and destruction and everything else, and getting TBI and getting CTE and all this stuff. So that's like a long-term thing for me. That's like way down the road, but that's something else I would love to really get into, is like have that. But I would obviously, like, my bandwidth is so shot, I'd have to have someone else manage it. So in the meantime, what I would do is just, I would like to continue supporting all these other great organizations out there that are doing good things for people, and that are helping people in the community, like Hunter 7 Foundation, like the Black Rifle Coffee Foundation that they're putting together, like the Grunt Style Foundation, like the Veteran Success Resource Group, like Jets for Vets, like all these organizations that are doing so many good things. There's just, there's tons more too. I just can't remember right now off the top of my head, but those are just some of the few that I like, and I'm friends with the people that run them. And, there's a lot we can do together if we are, if you're able to give voice to people from like large social platforms. There's just a lot you can do with the big big platforms, like raising awareness or like telling people about stuff, or like getting the word out about some event that's significant, So I have a lot of things I would like to do for sure, but I think in the near term we have to really get this thing to be sustainable long term, because I can't do the 10 short videos a day. It's too much.
Right.
I would be fine with doing like 3 or 4 short form videos a day. Yeah. And then have 2 or 3 long form videos post per week, like maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And long form's a whole different beast too.
It's a whole different.
Yeah, it's a totally different algorithm, totally different beast.
Yeah.
But you just schedule it out. Especially the one thing that's challenging about it is like if something is breaking news, I can edit that in a short video in a very short period of time and get it out there. But if it's like a long form video, it's tough. I can't send that long form video to my editing team and have a 24-hour turnaround. Yeah. That's tough. Or what if it's like, okay, you need to get the word out right now about this, but they need like 3 days to edit it,
live stream.
Yeah. The live stream piece, that's where it comes into play. So there's a lot of things that I want to do for sure in the future, and all this stuff ties into just continue to build the brand, and build the channels and build it up to a place where you can continue to be supportive to all these folks, because most of the big influencers are not vets. Most of the big influencers don't have any affiliation with the military. I mean, there are some out there that have a large influence that are pro-military, like Chris Pratt, for example. I don't know how many hundreds of millions of followers that guy's got, subscribers. Probably a lot, right? But people like that. There's a lot of folks out there that are like that. That are doing good things to help people as well. And I'm sure that I'm sure there's more than that. But that's kind of the short and skinny. Even though I felt like I was talking for like 35 minutes.
Brother, it's been real, and it's again, it's been in pretty much conclusion. You're just as real as it comes, man.
I appreciate it, man. I try to keep it real, because people can. Here's the thing, I look at it like you're talking to anybody. It's just like talking to a private or Lance Corporal. They're gonna smell through your bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're full of shit and you're just like blowing smoke up people's ass, they're gonna know. Yeah, they're gonna know. People are gonna tell that you're faking the funk. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy. It's easy to tell when somebody's not, really bout it, like the diplomats like to say. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? So I try to just and honestly, it's just easier because I don't have to keep up with any of the other stuff I said. I just speak what I'm.
You don't have to remember
real.
all the lies.
Right. Yeah, I don't have to remember anything. I can just say what comes to mind and what I'm doing, and I can just talk and just be myself. It's much easier to be myself. I'm not trying to be like anyone else. I'm not trying to be like a Ricky Recon or any of that stuff. I'm not special forces. I'm not a special forces operator. I'm not high speed. I'm just a conventional side dude that's trying to make a difference, and I like talking to people. I like to think that I'm relatively eloquent and I can speak to people effectively and get the word out about things in a good, professional, efficient manner. But try to use the character's traits and qualities that you were gifted from God to use. And that's all you can do.
All right. Well, shit, man. I mean, we said, wrapping this up, I know you said you didn't really know, get into the nitty gritty about firearms. Of course, us being classic firearms, right? That's kind of our little bit of a forte.
Yeah. But well, that's what you guys are subject matter experts on your brand. Yeah.
Right. So, of course, we have to extend, if you ever want to come to studio in Charlotte, man, and we do some stuff inside the studio. Yeah. Kagan Dunlap.
Do you guys have a shooting range out there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you really?
Yeah, an outdoor one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. At the spot?
It's not at our spot. It's about 25 minutes away. We partnership with a range, Take Aim Range and Training, of course.
Yeah.
Shout out to them as well.
That's cool, man.
So, it is rain, sleet, or shine.
We've got a 50 and 100 yards, so we can have some fun.
And a 500-yard spot.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I need to go shooting again. I might be able to come up on a weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I can't do it. I can't do it during the week right now, just because I've taken so much leave this past year. And my command lets me take the leave, but I know I shouldn't be taking anymore. So like there's a lot. I have some things that I need to focus on professionally speaking at the job. So that's going to take priority over everything for right now. But on the weekends, I can come up for sure because Charlotte's within the Liberty bounds anyway. So
there you go.
So I'll definitely I need to come up there and go shooting and. This sleeve is from up there in Charlotte.
Yeah,
this whole sleeve is from Charlotte.
Really?
Yeah. Ghost Tattoo.
No.
Yeah, there's a place called Ghost Tattoo that's up there in Charlotte. That's where my tattoo artist is.
I'm about to say maybe Made to Last. My boy Matt Skinny, like he's fire as well. I was looking. I was like, looks kind of close.
This is from New Orleans.
Okay.
This whole sleeve is from the same guy named Josh Bodwell. Shout out to Josh. So Josh Bodwell did all this stuff in New Orleans. I think he was on a TV show. And this guy's name is Vadik. Yeah, different guy. He specializes in anime.
Okay.
He prefers to tattoo anime chicks because he likes,
artistic, creation.
Yeah, artistic renditions. You know what we're talking about. But yeah, he prefers that, but he also is really good at this stuff. So he's gonna fill all this stuff in here in the coming month when I get up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Well, first of all, before we get out of here, bro, because I know we've kept you. This is now your third or fourth podcast of the day.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Anything more than 2?
Fourth. This is fourth.
Holy shit!
And I'm going to do a fifth right after this.
So see, there you go. Is there any of these organizations or stuff that you feel like needs instant, recognition right now that people can get involved that you just it's led on your heart just to speak about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
anything you want to bring awareness to?
Yeah. Another one I forgot I didn't mention before is Operation Allies Refuge Foundation.
Okay.
So that's founded by a good friend of mine, and he's a great dude. One of the big things they focus on is helping veterans that served at Hamid Karzai International Airport and veterans that didn't serve there recover from moral injury.
Ooh.
That's a big thing. But they've got a ton of stuff going on. And he would be better at explaining what all they do than me because they're developing a lot of things that they're trying to get into. But Operation Allies Refuge Foundation's a really good one. Recommend going to their website. Okay. The Hunter 7 Foundation, they provide free cancer screenings to vets constantly all the time. They gave out they administered over 100 tests I think here, and each test cost like $1,200.
Dang.
They administered them for free for people.
Wow.
So they're also doing a lot of cancer research and stuff. They are a great organization. Highly encourage that because they do a lot of work with special operations and folks that are traditionally more likely to be exposed to a lot of heavy metals and toxic gases and stuff just from the line of work they're in, or like the air wing and people that are on jet fuel and all that stuff. So they do a lot of good work. Another good organization is called Jets for Vets, which what they do is like they were founded by a guy I went to school with actually in college, and he was out in Hawaii, Marine Corps base Hawaii for a little bit. And what they do is they help pay for junior enlisted service members plane tickets to come home to see their families on the holidays, because like a plane ticket from Hawaii is like $1,000 or $1,200 round trip, which means you're spending, maybe your whole month's paycheck to come home. Yeah. Just to fly home. Yeah. And so what they do is they raise money to help facilitate getting service members from like the Asia Pacific theater back to, wherever their home is to see their families without them having to spend it out of pocket. So that's another good organization. And then the last one I'll mention is the Grunt Style Foundation as well. They're doing the same kind of thing. Okay. They do a lot of food drives for people that are doing like suffering from food insecurities. They're trying to grow their foundation as well. They're trying to do a lot more stuff. I know that they're in the process of building out the program and what all they do, but they're doing a lot of like drives at bases and stuff like that for active service members. Okay. And they're very interested in doing things to just do good for the community. Right. Also, lastly, I can't forget about the Veteran Success Resource Group, which is founded by a buddy of mine. Oh, Jesus Christ. Man, I'm just like drawn. I've been so burned out this whole week.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Scott, that's right, Scott. Scott Davidson is his name. Scott Davidson. Sorry. So Scott Davidson, forgive me. Scott is a great dude, and it was also founded by a former Marine JAG officer that sadly passed away. Oh, sure. From illness a while back, but. They founded this organization, Veteran Success Resource Group, and they do a ton for folks like military service members that are in Virginia specifically, that are suffering from food insecurities. They do food drives every holiday season. They provide a bunch of food for families that are suffering from food insecurity. They raise tons of money. They do a lot of events all over the place. We went to an event of theirs while we were here. They do an event every SHOT Show. They do what's called a Burbiz combat comedy hour. Okay. So it's like they have a comedy show of like mostly veterans that are up there doing stand up, and like it's free to come, it's free to attend. Okay. They encourage like any vets or active duty service members that are in the area, law enforcement, any of that stuff, to come by and watch a free comedy show. And it's mostly vets that are doing the stand up there, except for maybe one or two. That's what's up. And they're just really good people, good-natured people. They do a lot of stuff. He's going to be working very closely with the Department of Veteran Affairs for this coming administration, or for the new administration. So good people to know, good people out there. There's so many, and there's so many more. There's literally so many good people out there doing some good things. So just shout out to those people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, to close this out, that was the best way, man.
Yeah.
You dropped it all. You laid it all out there. So, guys, of course, for folks who want to find you, where can they head to? If they don't know.
I don't expect anyone to know necessarily. But, yeah, you can just you can Google me. You can just type Kagan Dunlap in your Google search bar, and most of my social media platforms will pop up if you do that. If you don't do that, you want to just find me on like Instagram, I think, is Kagan.Dunlap. Facebook's Kagan.Dunlap. TikTok is Kagan_Dunlap. YouTube is Kagan.Dunlap, or just Kagan Dunlap. You can find me there. And then Twitter or X is Kagan_M_Dunlap, which is still a pretty small platform for me. But and I think Twitch is just Kagan_Dunlap. Okay. If you type Kagan Dunlap in Twitch, you'll find it. It'll pop up.
You have a pretty unique name.
Yeah.
So it's nice you don't have 1, 2, 3 dash this.
Yeah. It should be pretty easy to find pretty much everything like that. So.
Yeah.
Well, brother, we are honored to have you on here, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for inviting me up here, man.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, it means a lot. I definitely want to do more of these, so I appreciate you offering me the opportunity at the Gundy's this past Monday. So
There you go. Well, guys. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying now, and we can also go shoot guns one day when you want to come up.
Yeah,
love it.
100%, man.
Got some,
well, you got my cell phone number.
Yeah, I got your number. We got some M27s around. So
that sounds good.
HK M110s too, with clone correct stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Just saying. And then you can break. That would be awesome. Break it down. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I can bring up some of my guns too. They need to shoot, so that'd be fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, of course, thank you for tuning into this, and thanks for being with us, and continue to watch our SHOT Show coverage. And Kagan, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
See you.